Welcome to the second tutorial on using SCS11. The scenario we are now going to set up is for a scene change where there is a storm with some thunder. The cue starts fairly loudly, fades down as an actor arrives on stage, and then continues at a lower level beneath the actor's dialogue. Finally, the cue fades out and stops. If you have closed SCS, then open SCS. The last used cue file is opened. We are now positioned at the first cue, Q1, and are ready to add the new cues for the scene change. Click the Editor button. To add the new audio file cue, click the Add Audio File Cue button and locate the required file. With this cue, I'm going to remove the dead space at the beginning and end of the cue, end of the file, and I also want to include a loop so that the cue can play as long as necessary. To include the loop, first of all click the loop checkbox, and this will add two handles that you can use to set the start and end positions of the loop. With a loop, it's often useful to have a crossfade time too, to avoid clicks or sudden level changes at the cross point of the loop. And now we can test this. So that's the wind sound. We now want to add a thunderclap to this cue. To do this, we create a new subQ, also an audio file subQ, and locate the required file. Because this is a subQ, when Q2 is played, both the wind sound and the thunder will play. So here's the thunder one. Cue ends around about there, so I can drag this back to about there. By default, the two subcues will start together, but in this case I want to delay the start of the thunderclap by 3 seconds. So I'll add 3 seconds to this relative start time here. And to listen to the whole Q2, I need to go back to the main screen. So click on Q2 and then go lower the level of the wind sound a bit and just save that setting. And so that should be okay. We now want to add a level change cue so that we can drop the level of that wind sound when the actor comes on stage. So for that we need a level change cue. If you can't see it here, then it will be under cues here. Add level change cue. We'll select the wind sound and we'll drop the level down to about there now, and we'll drop it over say 1.5 seconds. To listen to the effect, hit the play button to play the wind sound, and then when you're ready, click this button here to listen to the new level, and that sounds fine. So now we can save that change. Finally, we need an SFR cue to fade out and stop the cue. SFR stands for Stop, Fade Out, Loop Release. The cue to be action defaults to the last audio file cue, and you can change that if you require by clicking on that button there. And then the action we require here is to fade out and then stop, and we'll fade it out over 3 seconds. I'll click that, save the cue, save the file, and then we'll go back to here and listen to the whole Q2, 3 and 4 sequence. I'll now drop the level and then ultimately fade out and stop the cue.